And welcome to our week number 13 live stream for my research methods class. It is officially November. We were way down here, we're right here in week 13, which is just crazy. So I hope you're all hanging in there. Historically, this is usually like an off week. Like people are really like tired as we get into November. So if that's you, hang in there. We're on our way. There's so always like a little lull right here before that last push of the semester. But week number 13, happy November. Happy Dodgers winning the World Series. I hope you had a great Halloween if you celebrated. I feel like it's been like a holiday mishmash at my house. It was like Happy Dia de los Christmas this last week. It's been like Halloween and then like Dia de los Muertos and then Christmas stuff and like Thanksgiving stuff is in there too. Like it's just, oh, so many holidays right now. So, anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Just a little of quick feedback about week number 12, and then we'll look at what we have going on this week. Last week we had the APA formatting part 2. I really enjoyed all of your cover pages that you made. Most of you did a really good job on the cover page. I was really nitpicky because there isn't a lot of information on there. So if you didn't put the title in bold or you forgot the page number, you lost some points. But most of you did a really great job. And remember, there were those samples that were in there. And some of you kind of didn't format it at all. There was just some of the information. But again, the vast majority of you did a really, really wonderful job on that. As far as the exam goes as well, also some really great things that I saw on that. Let me bring up the statistics for you just so you can kind of see. When it came to the third exam, a lot of you did fantastically. So here are the statistics if you want to kind of see where you fell in relation to everyone. The average score was a 90%. The high score was a 98. The low was an 82. So not a very big range. You can see that everybody was way up here. So really nice to see that so many of you did so well. The average amount of time was about 31 minutes, a little bit less. So great job overall. What this probably tells me is maybe they're a little too easy. Maybe I should make them a little harder. But the big thing to me is just that you're understanding the materials, and clearly a lot of you are doing that, which makes me really happy to see. So, for the most part, last week, really wonderful job. We move into the last fourth of the class at this point, right? So, week number 13, then we have 14 and everything coming up from there. I do open the last 3 weeks a little bit early, right? So next week we'll have a normal week, and then after that, everything on the 17th will open for the rest of the semester. I always try and give you a little bit of like flexibility at the end because I know things get a little chaotic with finals and everything coming to an end. But we're not quite there yet. Just to mention it for those of you thinking ahead. This week we have kind of a light week. The topic for this week is kind of an easy one, and it's my way of getting you to start thinking about this project that is due at the very end of the semester. So all that you have for reading this week is to read the experiment proposal project instructions. And then your discussion this week is going to be to work on that as well. So I'm really trying to give you a little bit of a head start and a push. I feel like it's kind of a nice light week. As I said, this is kind of traditionally a lower, harder week for people, and so I wanted to be really mindful of that. So, your reading for this week is just this. So, if you click on the experiment proposal project, your job will be to read through this. And this is worth 60 points, so it's worth more than an exam. It is a big, like, final project where you're writing a 5 to 7 page paper. You're making a title page and an abstract. You are basically designing an experiment. So, the purpose of this project is to give you an opportunity to apply all of the principles you've learned over the course of the semester. For this assignment, you will design and write up a brief proposal for an original experiment, which means something you've come up with on your own, in APA formatting, along with creating a short digital visual aid that will be presented to the class online. Both the written portion and that visual aid will be submitted through Canvas through the instructions. So your job is to read through all these instructions, look at the rubric, kind of look at everything that is on here, and then you're going to use that information for the discussion this week. So this isn't due until the very end of the class, so it's not due all the way until December 7th. But I know that having been a student many years myself, that if we don't start thinking about it now, that it will just kind of get pushed toward later. So once you've read through all the instructions, discussion number 13 is related to the project. And this is, again, meant to give you a head start. So you have my instructions and the video, like always. So for this discussion, you're going to think about that project. Here's the link again to it. And you're going to answer these 4 questions. So I want you to share the topic or topics that you're considering for your experimental proposal project. Give this some serious thought. Try and narrow it down to like 1 or 2 ideas. The more work you do here, the less work you have to do later. I'm trying to give you that head start. So the more that you narrow it down, the more progress you can make toward that final project. So what are your topics you're considering? Describe your independent and dependent variables. Be sure to describe the levels that they might have and how you're going to operationalize them, and like start really thinking about the variables that would be involved in your experiment. How are you going to sample, right? So again, just to back up for 1 second, you're not actually doing this research. As much fun as that would be, that's not something we're allowed or equipped to do. But one day when you're like in a master's program, you could always come back to this. So like if there's something you really want to know, have fun with it. It does not have to uniquely be related to psychology. It can be about anything. I'm fine with that. But would you acquire your sample in theory? Discuss your sampling methods. What are some of the problems you might run into? What are some of the potential threats to internal validity in your experiment, and how will you address those? So my whole goal with this discussion and this week is to kind of jumpstart you on this project. So again, the more work you do here, the more you will save yourself later in December when things get busy. So again, like start outlining all of that here. You can always change your mind later if you think of something different that you would rather do, but try and narrow it down as much as you can. You also have a little self-assessment this week. This is the 3rd one of these. It's just your opportunity, now that we've completed 3/4 of the class, to kind of consider your progress and grades and approach. So respond to these questions. Please be honest. I'm not looking for anything in particular. This is more for you than anything, just to kind of check in with you and give you that opportunity. So it's worth 5 points. You have as much time as you need, but be sure to do that this week. That's definitely going to hopefully help you kind of evaluate where you're at. There are still 4 weeks left of our class, so still a lot of points left to go between the final and that big paper. So definitely kind of reflect on that and where you are. You will obviously see a recording of this posted in a little bit. I'll give you the extra credit in a moment, and then there's the wrap-up checklist. A couple of quick reminders. I type this out every week, but don't forget to double check your subscription status. If it's expired, you could always renew it. Free to do, just takes a second. The extra credit question, let me put this in the chat. And I did notice when I pulled up the instructions that the due date was incorrect, so I'll go back and update that. It was from the spring, so I just need to change it for here to December 7th. But how many points is the experiment proposal project worth, and when is it due? So again, all about the project this week, but extra credit for this week. How many points is it worth, and when is it due? And when you're ready to answer that, you go right here to optional Twitch extra credit number 13 and click on that. Up at the top, click on Start Assignment, and then it brings up that spot where you can type your response. Oops, excuse me. And then when you're done, hit Submit for confetti and thumbs up, right? Little weird thumbs up. So that is your task for this week. Again, all about that project. And I will go in just a moment and update that due date for you so it's correct. But if you have any questions about the project, I will hang out for a few minutes. Otherwise, really short and sweet this week, kind of an easy week. Like I said, I know that oftentimes this first week of November, people are tired. And so I just wanted to be mindful and try and take it easy a little bit this week. And then we'll jump back in next week and keep going to finish up the class strong. So I'll hang out for a few minutes if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to put thank you all so much for joining me. So much. I really cannot type and talk. I have learned this so much about myself. But thank you all so much for joining me. If you have questions, I'm here. Please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will hope to see you next week. Oh, that's the other reminder. I'll put it in here. Our next Twitch live stream will be on Wednesday, November 12th at 1 o'clock p.m. like usual. So just so I don't forget to put that in there. All right. So have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you so much for being on here with me. Hang in there, and I'll hope to see you all next week. I look forward to your experiment ideas. I look forward to reading what you come up with and what you're interested in studying. So I'm gonna minimize this so I'm not staring at myself, but I'm still here. Feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. All right, everyone. It doesn't look like there are any questions at all, so I'm going to go ahead and log off. But if you do think of any questions, feel free to email me. I'm here. And again, have a wonderful, wonderful